Hello! In this video, we're going to be beginning our first investigation. The first thing we need to do is to open up a graph. We can do that by clicking this button in the top left. Cool! We have our first graph. This video is intended to introduce you to using graphs, transformers, and entities together. I'll show you how to create a graph, populate the graph with entities, and how to run transformers on those entities to obtain new entries and other things from the data. In this guide, we will use the GNU organization as an example, which is identified by the domain gnu.org. We're going to add an entity for this domain to the graph. First, we're going to search for the domain entity in the entity palette. And we see the entity here. Now we can drag and drop this entity onto the graph. By default, it says Maltego. We need to adjust this to the entity we're targeting. In the prior video, we installed our first transformer. But what are transformers? Well, transformers are functions that take an entity as an input and creates new entities as an output. The output entities are then linked to the input entity. This is how you grow a graph in Maltego. This could be compared to the way investigations are carried out. You start with some piece of information and you derive new pieces of information from it. Each transformer accepts certain types of entities as inputs. You can see the list of transformers that can take a certain entity by right-clicking anywhere on the entity. In this case, we can see the transformers that I've installed that will work for this entity. In this example, we're only going to be using the default transformers. The first thing we're going to do is try to gather emails from this domain. So we're going to right-click our entity. We can search inside of the box for to email. And we can see to email address from whoisinfo. And we see the email address that's attached to their whoisinfo. There's other ways to extract emails. For example, we have two email addresses PGP. This transformer contacts the Ubuntu public PGP key server and retrieves email addresses containing the given domain. So anyone who's used PGP who's registered using GNU.org is going to be discovered using this transformer. In this case, we found quite a few names. The next thing we can do is try to uncover subdomains. We can do this by analyzing DNS records using the given transformer. We're going to right-click GNU.org again. This time, I'm going to search for DNS. Great. We see many transformers that can assist us with this. For this example, we're going to be using this transformer, to DNS, interesting, from Security Trails. And we can see the graph populated with the subdomains that it's going to discover. Great, we can see the subdomains. Now, Maltego is able to take things even farther. We can select all of our new entities, and we can run an additional transformer on these entities. For example, we can look up the IP addresses of these host names. We're going to search to IP address. We're going to use DNS. And we can see our graph updated, and we can see which servers are using which subdomains and the general configuration of their network. Now, we could even take this one step further by finding what other websites each of these servers host. That's the power of Maltego. We can give it a domain, we can find subdomains, we can find IPs on those subdomains, we could find all other websites using those IPs, and then we can try to find all other emails on those websites. Maltego is very powerful for investigations, and the graphs can get very ginormous. This is our simple first example. In the next video, we will conduct a more thorough investigation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.